So this figure here is showing January temperature, and you can see a key is given, and the darkest shade in the key represent the temperature which are the highest. Now remember, January is the month when Pakistan generally has winters. Winters are experienced throughout the country. So what happens here, you can see the lowest temperatures, that is below 5 degrees Celsius. These are shown with the lightest shade of purple. You can see Gilgit, Chitral, Para, Chinar and Quetta, and these areas are towards north and northwestern side and western side of Pakistan. These are highland areas, and we have discussed in the chapter topography that the altitude is high in these areas. And if we look at the highest temperatures which are experienced in Pakistan during January, these are above 20 degrees Celsius, and these are experienced in the coastal areas of Pakistan. And if you remember, the coastal zone, climatic zone, this is the same belt which experience the highest temperature. You can relate it to the maritime influence, that the maritime influence doesn't allow temperatures to fall very low during winters, and the winters are also bearable in the coastal areas. Figure 2.6 is showing June temperatures. June, which means we are talking about summers here, and the highest temperature range which is given here is above 35 degrees Celsius. You can see it is experienced towards the western part of Balochistan, and it is the part where we have seen Nokandi, which is a desert in deserted area in Kharan desert, and we can also see Multan, Sibbi, Jekbabad and Sakkar. These areas are towards the eastern side where we have Cholistan, Nara and Third desert. They are closer to that. So these two areas would experience the highest temperatures. And if we talk about the lowest temperatures, we can see Gilgit, Chitral, Para, Chinar and Quetta, Zob. Again, the highland zones which would experience extremely low temperatures during winters. They would have mild winters because they are at higher altitudes, and on those higher altitudes temperatures are low. If you talk about the coastal belt or the coastal area, then you can also see there are temperatures is not extremely high. And why is it so? Because of the maritime influence. Although this area is the nearest to the Tropic of Cancer, but the influence of sea on the coastal belt is keeping the temperature moderate during summers as well. There is a great variation seen in the climate throughout Pakistan. This is due to several factors. If you talk about the northern parts of Pakistan, as we have discussed in the chapter topography, that we have higher altitudes there, mountain ranges are found there, and we are familiar with the phenomenon that when the height increases, the altitude increases, the temperatures decrease. That is why towards north we have lower temperatures. Other than that, the northern areas, the northern parts of Pakistan, these are further away from the equator. The southern part of Pakistan, the coastal area, it is right above Tropics of Cancer. So the areas which are nearer to the tropics, they tend to experience higher temperatures because they are closer to equator. And if we talk about the angle of sun, then these areas receive almost direct rays of sunlight. So intensity of the sunlight is higher in the areas that are located towards south than in the areas which are situated towards north, that is further away from the Tropic of Cancer. Another reason that affects the climate temperature in Pakistan is the continental effect. We have discussed the continental effect in the very first lesson of this chapter. This is experienced in the large land masses which are further away from the ocean and the sea, and they would have extreme winters and extreme summers because there isn't any sea or a huge water body to influence or to cool down the temperatures during summers and keep the temperatures moderate during winters. Other than these factors, cloud cover plays an important role in temperature of an area. So it could be described as a greenhouse effect. Now what happens if there's a cloud cover during daytime which would not allow the sunlight to reach to the surface of earth in that particular area where there is cloud cover? So that area is going to have relatively lower temperature during that day. But if an area has received a huge amount of sunlight, a normal amount of sunlight that it receives during any normal day without cloud cover, and if in that area clouds appear by evening or by night, then that area is going to experience higher temperatures during night. This is because the clouds would act as a cap, and whatever heat that is absorbed by the land during the daytime, it is released during evening and during night. This heat would be trapped under the clouds, and that is why the area would experience higher temperatures during night due to that cloud cover, because whatever heat that has been released by the land, it would be trapped under the clouds, and it would keep the temperatures relatively higher in that area. So these are the factors which affect temperature in Pakistan.